Hi and welcome to Love You a Brunch. Today I am making some chocolate clay in order to make some trees and possibly some gravestones and things like that to put on top of a cake I'm making for a Halloween party we're having this weekend. And I love to work with chocolate clay because I love to work with any kind of clay, but the fact that you can eat it and you can mold it into whatever you want, if you like to sculpt with your hands, makes it really cool. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a 16-ounce bag of your chocolate or candy melts, the little chocolate wafers you can get at Walmart or AC Moore or Michael's, and you're going to stick them in a microwave safe bowl, okay? Again, you can do this on a double boiler if you want. I am not going to do that, so I'm going to stick it in the microwave. And again, as I said before, do not just put this in for a minute and a half and let it go. You're going to put it in for 30 seconds, stir it around, 30 seconds more, stir it around some more, possibly like between 0 to 30 seconds more, and stir it around until it's completely melted, okay? Okay, once you have that melted, okay, make sure it's all completely smooth. I had one little chunk in here that would not melt. But get that all completely smooth. You're going to take 1/3 of corn syrup. 1/3 corn syrup. 1/3 cup of corn syrup. Okay? And you're going to pour that directly in. You'll notice that as you start to do this, that it will start to kind of make a ball. The more you stir, the more, as it cools down, it's going to start making like a clayish substance. Now it's going to not... It gets hard to stir, that's for sure. But it's not going to be ready right now. You're going to want to let it sit possibly for 24 hours. So you want to have ready for yourself is a piece of parchment paper, okay? So once you have it stirred as much as you can pretty much get it, because it gets really hard, you can put it in the parchment paper and kind of, there we go. You know, like you do with bread. Okay, push it around. Once you get it to kind of where you want it to be, just roll it up, sit it aside, and save it for later. Okay, so it has been 24 hours since I made my chocolate clay, and it's going to be pretty hard. If it is too hard to be malleable, go ahead and stick it in the microwave for, but not very long, just like 10 seconds, okay? So you want to get it really moving in your hands like clay. One of my favorite things to make with chocolate clay is roses. I'm not actually doing roses for my Halloween cake, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. Okay, so you're going to take a piece of chocolate clay, and you know, you can of course use any color, but you're going to make kind of like a 3D teardrop look. Then you're going to take some little balls of chocolate clay and you're going to flatten them between your hands. So makes, you know, like a little petal. I'm going to take it and just roll it around that little teardrop shape that you made and kind of put back the sides. Take another piece, roll it up, make another petal. And you can start really small, you can start big, it doesn't matter. It's really just up to you and your creativity, okay? Do as many of these petals as you want. You can make it a little bud, you can make it a, you know, full bloomed rose. It really is up to you. Okay, so one thing that's nice about this chocolate clay is once you have it finished to the exact thing you want it to look like, you can sit it aside and it hardens up, and it'll be perfectly hard for whatever cake you're putting it on. Okay, so You can keep doing this and mess around with it a little bit, make it the shape and desire that you want it to look like. Okay, so I'm not making a rose for my cake. I am making a tree because I am doing a cemetery cake and I want a spooky tree in the background. I don't want it to look phallic, so I'm going to split the top part into limbs. And then I'm going to let it sit for a little bit to get hard because at this point it's a little too soft in my hands. So I'm going to leave it sitting and I will come back to it in a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to work on my fence that's going to go around the cemetery. So I'm going to be using black candy melts, candy wafers, chocolate melts. And I am going to take my piping bag and I'm going to put some in here and I'm going to microwave it for a little bit. I'll move it around, get it smooth, put it back in, microwave it again, smooth it around, and then I will start to do my fence. Okay, so my chocolate is melted inside the bag. Make sure that all of it's melted. And basically you can just move it around so that the melted chocolate gets to the rest. And I don't want my fence to be too thin, but I also don't want it to be too thick, so I'm just going to cut a little bit off on the bottom. My cake pan is about 10 inches square, so I'd like to completely go around the cemetery with the fence. But I don't think I want to do 10-inch long ones because I won't be able to store it safely. So I'm going to do them in smaller increments of inches, I guess. And you know, my hands are very shaky when I do this. But you know what? It's a Halloween cemetery, so shakiness doesn't really matter. Seems like the chocolate right in the tip isn't quite melted. So I'm going to stick it back in the microwave. So you want to get it, you know, relatively even pattern-wise. You're making a fence. But it doesn't have to be perfect. As I said, it's a Halloween cemetery, so if it's not perfect, it actually, to me, is a little bit better. Okay. So I have one fence post started. Make sure it's all even. And you can go ahead and make the rest of those fence posts, and once they harden, actually you can stick them in the fridge to cool down so it will harden faster. Same goes with the modeling chocolate. And once the cake is all icinged and done, you have those you can easily pull off the paper and put it onto the cake. Okay, so along with my fence and my trees, I want some gravestones to put in my cemetery. I've used some white chocolate wafers or candy wafers along with a couple black, and that way it's kind of marbled and messy and a little bit gray. So I'm just going to shape them out. What you could do is stick a printout or a picture of whatever you want to trace and do it that way, but I'm just gonna freehand it. So let's see here. I want some regular old oval ones. Make sure you make the bottoms deep enough so that you can stick it in the cake or the icing. Another thing you could do if you didn't want to pipe out all of these, you could get a mold that has things that you want to put in, or you could do some chocolate modeling clay and make the shape and then just do design with it. But I thought it would be cooler to have little piped cemeteries, tombstones. So let's see, what other shape do I want? Probably a couple of those. The chocolate at the tip does harden faster than the rest, so just squeeze that out if it gets too hard. And the other stuff will get down to it. Once these are cooled, you just peel them right off the paper. You can store them in a sealed container, or you can put them directly on the cake depending when you do it. Also, before it hardens, if you don't like how bumpy it looks, you can take a toothpick or something to smooth it. I will probably not do that because the ones on the flattening side is what I'll put towards the front, and to me this just looks more rustic. What would be even more fun is afterwards go through with some dark chocolate, some black chocolate in a little tiny bag, and do like some people's names from the party, so it would look like that their names are in the cemetery. That might be cute. There's an idea. In the freezer, and that's my chocolate mold or chocolate clay mold of the tree that I built. What I'm going to do when I stick it on the cake, I'm going to probably use some of the Halloween green and kind of make it like Spanish moss falling off. Then I might even put some on the tombstones, and see what else I can do to make it a little creepier for the top of my cake.